Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. We're here to say if Jason still haunts you, you're not alone.
Did you tell them what we're going to be talking about today?
Not yet. Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning.
Man, what a franchise.
Hey, man, Corey freaking Feldman. What can you
Yeah,
say? Is kind of in this movie.
he's in this movie. I think everybody wishes they weren't in the movie who was in this movie. Jason didn't even show up. Maybe he did. I'm not sure.
The spirit of Jason showed up in the heart of Corey, or the heart of John Shepard, I believe it was actually.
Where to begin on this movie? I wanted to do it because we were picking the oddball entries in some of the horror slasher films. And if we were disappointed by Halloween 3 Season of the Witch to some degree, I don't know. How much of a disappointment is this movie relative to what came before it?
So most people liked the first four, and then they really liked Part 6 when he came back.
Really?
And
Huh.
oh yeah. They were throwing babies at Jason. You're back.
Really?
Of course. Actually, I think Part 6 is probably my favorite, and that is for the opening scene. I don't know if you've seen it. This kind of whet my appetite to go back and watch some of the good ones. This one's bad. Part 8's bad. Part 9.
I don't know if there are
bad.
good ones. I'll give you credit on the original movie. There is something to the original film. I don't know if I'd call any of the other ones good, but
I like him. I like Jason. He was always my favorite. He always killed the people who deserved it. And by the way, I know he's not in this movie, but almost everyone in this movie deserved it.
Well, I want to push back on that with you. There's once upon a time you told me that most of the old 80s horror movies, they have a particular trope, if you want to call it that, or a repeating, you can call it a gag or whatever. It's that, for the most part, the sexually immoral and the bad people are the ones who get killed in these movies, and those who avoid that somehow tend to live to the end. But I don't find that pattern to hold up at all in this movie, Part 5.
So actually, this is probably the movie that started changing the trope.
Oh, really?
So this is, I believe, probably one of the first movies where you actually have multiple people alive at the end. And
at least two, right? Three. I'll give you three people.
Three if you count Tommy. But so this kind of changed the tone of the franchise. Also, before this one, it was more of like Farmer Jason.
Define Farmer Jason for us.
It was more like he came back to life, and that's kind of where they left the supernatural part. Like he wasn't like overly deformed. Like he had hydrocephalus as a kid. That's why his head always there. But he wasn't necessarily super strong as much as he just kept coming.
Okay.
So in Part 6, when they resurrect him, because he really did die in 4, that's when he really becomes like Super Saiyan Jason, so to speak.
Yeah, like a Dragon Ball Z reference. There is a bit of it's somewhat fan theory, but I think it's worked in to some degree by the directors, the Evil Dead elements that could explain why Jason is able to do what he does after Part 4. There's some kind of a Easter egg to the book that the Bruce Campbell character used, the Necronomicon, which was in several of those movies. And I forget which movie it appears in, but that's why people try to tie those together somehow.
It's probably Part 9, Jason Goes to Hell.
Which has a Freddy Krueger cameo at the end, right?
Yeah, it sets up Freddy versus Jason. Well, kind of.
This movie feels like it's trying to start something with the Tommy Jarvis character.
Well, I think they are, and they had the people who lived signed on to more contracts, which they ended up getting rid of because the film disappointed. But I think they intended to basically do a trilogy. And
goodness,
yeah, I mean, my thoughts on this movie is I really couldn't remember because it had been so long if Corey Feldman's teenage self was the murderer. So I just didn't remember the ending exactly. So that kind of kept me engaged. But had I remembered the ending, all I remember of the ending was they got killed in the barn. I couldn't remember what happened to do it or the after effects. And this is the kind of movie where you kind of have to forget some of the plot to enjoy it a second time.
Ooh.
And enjoy is a strong word, but you know what I mean.
Do you feel like the movie intentionally sets up multiple red herrings as for who Jason is?
Oh, yeah. I felt like the first 20 minutes were basically doing that.
There is some kind of a straggler guy. He just kind of going around asking for old jobs for food. But he's killed off fairly early in this movie. And I just kind of wondered why they did that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone took him too seriously. He was a little too lanky to be Jason. He had more of a Freddy build.
So, do you believe the major conflict for the viewer in this movie is whether it's the real Jason resurrected or Tommy Jarvis, and then they spring a twist on us at the end and say it's neither? What are your takes on that?
Well, based off the promotional material, I think they were trying to get ahead of the narrative that people were going to be really disappointed thinking they're going to see a Jason movie and not get a Jason. Because you get all this promotional material where Tommy Jarvis is holding the knife. And basically it's saying if
Oh,
Jason still haunts you, you're not alone. So I think the idea is this creepy little kid grows up to be Jason Part 2, so to speak. And they do kind of run with that. So you have Tommy having all these nightmares and visions, and he's been drugged up all these places. And then you get introduced to all these other creepy people, like the guy who heads up the facility. Forget his name, Matt Letter. He doesn't seem quite right.
wait,
And
wait. The guy who's in charge? Describe what you
yeah,
think is wrong with him, because he's another character I'm asking why is he in this movie?
he's
He
too low
disappears
key.
midway.
Yeah, he disappears midway, but he just got a creepy molester vibe going on. Not necessarily a Jason vibe, but I
Okay.
ain't quite right vibe. Got all these kids on my property.
You say he's a Jerry Sandusky or something?
Possibly a
Okay.
younger version. You have the sheriff who thinks it is Jason. So
Yeah.
that's always kind of a. I'm not taking that too serious, but who knows? You have the Lou Ferrigno lookalike, Roy Burns, who does the EMT stuff. But you don't really take him too seriously. But then you have the farmhand, possibly paying
Oh,
homage to the first four movies.
so let me just talk about those people. The country bumpkins. I refer to them mentally as Cousin Eddie and Aunt Edna from the first National Lampoon's Vacation. This is what I imagine they would be like in a horror movie with some exaggerated characteristics. And again, I'm wondering why are they in the movie? Are they there that we're supposed to take pleasure when they get killed off? That's the only thing I could figure for how it ties into the plot.
I think they're overcompensating. This movie, I think they kind of knew the the deck was stacked against it, and that they're trying to get this idea of a non-Jason Voorhees over to an audience that wants to see Jason Voorhees.
Hmm.
So they probably know this is a big risk. So what are you going to do? You up the ante and everything. More death, more nudity, more all the stuff, right? I didn't realize exactly just how much of that stuff was in this movie, but I think there's like 22 kills in this movie, and I don't know if any of the women keep their top on. But I think they're overcompensating.
The main lady stays closed, doesn't she?
Well, they work in the wet shirt at the end.
Oh, okay. I'll give you that for the rain. Now, one of the women who dies, again, back to the whole idea of traditionally these movies, you keep the virgins and you keep the chastity people alive. She's one of the last ladies to die in the house, but it comes right after she turns down one of those goofballs attempts to move in on her romantically. That's kind of weird. I've forgotten. Does she lose her clothes at some point too?
Yeah, I believe she sleeps in the buff. I think was
Well,
the
that earns her the kill then, because she got naked on film. So I guess even though it's not the same as fornication, I guess that counts. What did the stutterer goof do? Is it because he
oh, he
wanted?
just got killed.
Is it because he wanted to make with the lady or what?
I don't think this movie's really laying into that. I really do think this movie moves away from that formula, and I don't know for sure if they get back to that formula. The part six actually has no nudity, so
Oh, well,
yeah,
we could watch that one at some point since you like it so much.
they're trying something new,
All
basically.
right, a new beginning. There you
It
go.
is a new beginning,
Okay,
but yeah, there are some good things in the movie. And if it
name them.
wasn't a Jason movie, and it was just like a movie that was aware of Jason movies, maybe people wouldn't hate it so much. Well, I mean, the idea that this kid's been traumatized and is sent to a halfway house type thing with all these other weird kids. Now, again, they don't nail any of the kids. None of these people are likable. You want them all to die. It's just,
That's fair.
if these characters had been better, this movie would
Yeah.
have been good. And I want to shout out to our old buddy Miguel A. Nunez Jr. Demon Winter steals the show. You agree?
In the porta potty, right?
Yeah. How many movies have we reviewed that he's been in?
This would be the second one, right?
He was in Street Fighter.
Oh, DJ. Thank you.
Wasn't he in Halloween 3?
Yeah, we just talked about him there because we. No, sorry. No. Wait, he wasn't in Halloween 3.
He,
It was Return of the Living Dead. That's when we
ah,
really
there
talked
you go.
about him.
There you go. Yeah, you're right. He was in an Ernest movie, which we didn't review, but we watched a lot of Ernest movies.
He was in an Ernest movie? What? Which one?
Slam
Oh,
Dunk
the
Ernest.
Slam Dunk Ernest.
Which
Yeah.
again, I don't want to watch that.
Oh. It's got Kareem. It's got Miguel Nunez Jr. It's got Rimshot. It's got all the stars.
Well, we'll have to make a deal one day.
Mm.
Jason 6 for Slam Stupid.
There you go.
But yeah, that was a great scene, dying in the porta potty.
Okay.
So, I will say, I didn't realize there was nepotism in the Friday the 13th franchise.
Do tell.
So here, let me get the Tina McCarthy, the one who gets her eyes poked out or cut out in the woods.
That is a rough way to go right there. That is something.
Yeah. So she's played by Deborah Sue Voorhees. What kind of strings got pulled for that to happen?
I mean, they made her get naked, so I don't know if that was her choice or what.
I mean, who knew if Voorhees was ever associated with Playboy? Found that out in research.
Oh, that's why she got the part. Yeah, I think the director must have been well read on that.
Yeah.
I wish Nunez was in the movie more. He's just kind of introduced and killed off in about the same scene. I don't know if we ever really cut away and back.
I don't know that he ever played a main character in his life. I'm sure he did, but in all the movies we've watched, he's been like supporting cast, comedy relief, there for a while. You remember him, but he's not on screen too long either.
I'm at least appreciative that he kept his clothes on in the porta-john the whole time, as he was making out to his lady. That could have gone way weirder.
Yeah.
Seducing his woman inside a porta-john.
Well, she wasn't in there with him.
That just makes it odd, man.
It's the best scene in the movie, I believe. I mean,
and then
is there a better scene?
And then fake Jason only needs 3 shots to kill him. It was a headshot. That's also impressive.
So the guy who's spoiler alert, Roy Burns, the EMT, is the pretend Jason in this movie.
You forget about him by the end of the movie. At least I did completely.
In the very beginning of the movie, you got this real fat kid who likes to eat candy bars, wandering around the camp, annoying everybody.
I felt bad for him, but I wanted him dead, to your point there. I'm sorry. He was starting to wear on me. I said, let's kill this guy off.
He'd only been on screen 5 minutes. But
he didn't die the way I thought he was going to die.
No, typically in a movie like this, you would have that character hang around for a while, kind of the simpleton. Yep. And then he would get killed later when you got more invested in the character. I don't know that we ever would have been invested in this character. But basically, he pisses off a psycho with an axe, and the dude just hacks into him, basically.
What's his name? Vincent?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
He's not in the movie near as much as I thought he would be. I assume he lives through the end of it.
It would make sense in jail, but yeah.
And yet, that would be the least likely guy that should live in this movie, considering the reveal.
Small correction, it might have been Vinny, it might have been Victor. It's one of them 2 characters.
Victor. That sounds about right.
I think it's Victor, because I think Vinny and Joey were the greasers who got killed working on their car and taking a crap in the woods, I think.
They exist only to die.
Victor sounds like a guy who's going to hit you with an axe. So
yeah.
But anyways, the EMT comes and he sees Joey's body, and we later find out at the end of the movie that it was actually his father who had left him as a child when his mother died in childbirth. He was too big, I guess. And yeah, so he was inspired by the Jason murders to cover it up that way. And he had a mask on. And you really do think it's probably Tommy when you first see Jason. He's got a mask on, so he's like basically covers up the hair. And
yeah,
Tommy makes weird looking mask, and you just kind of assume at that point that he's got a Jason mask on, because at that point you're very confident this isn't really Jason.
So that's a tie to the previous movie. I did see that once upon a time. The the final Friday, and little Corey Feldman, he loved making very professional looking rubber masks. But I'm not sure why they put it in this movie, but maybe you're right. Maybe that's to lead the audience into thinking he's the killer.
Because I was thinking through the movie, I'm like, eventually they're going to show Jason because they just show his hands for a lot of it. And for part of the movie, I was trying to figure out if Tommy's arms were hairy enough to be Jason's arms, and never quite could figure that out. But I was trying to remember, and then when they finally showed him, and it was clear they weren't just hiding the top of his head, but they were running with the idea that this is bald, deformed Jason. And I said, okay, I'm pretty sure it's Tommy because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. And
It doesn't. No.
it still doesn't necessarily make sense with the way they do it.
So, who remind me the EMT who becomes the murderer? What's his name again?
Roy.
Ed?
Roy Ferrigno.
Roy Ferrigno. I like that. Roy only has a vendetta against a few people. I don't understand why he has a vendetta against every other kid in the facility, most of whom were very upset when Chubby died. And if he wants to blame the murder, makes sense. If he wants to blame the head of the facility, whatever his name was, makes sense. If he wants to blame his fellow EMT, it does make sense because when they're uncovering him, the fellow EMT is very dismissive and insulting of everything. So those are the three people that would make sense for him to kill. But not only does he try to wipe out everybody associated with this kid's house, he's just going after random people too that have no connection to any of it. So why?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he was driven mad by the murder of his child who he didn't know because he walked away from him when he was born.
Okay. So he's just crazy. That's all there is to it. No explanation needed.
Something got triggered. He must enjoy dragging dead bodies away. That's all I can think of.
Boy. Yeah.
So, fake Jason in this movie was played by Tom Morga.
Oh.
Who I am a little torn on this. He has credit. He gets credit for being the only actor to play Michael Myers, Leatherface, and Jason Voorhees.
Very impressive.
But did he really play Jason Voorhees? Because this is the only movie he was in.
He plays the spectral version too, though, right? In the correct mask.
You know, he doesn't play him in the opening graveyard scene. He wasn't available that day. So Corey Feldman was filming The Goonies when this took place. So
Good
on his
career
off
choice.
day, he filmed the graveyard scene in his garden, his own personal garden, like they sent a team out. And Morgan wasn't available that day, so someone else did it.
So Corey Feldman never showed up on set. He just got to work from home for, I guess, a paycheck. I don't know how much, but
yeah, and it's possible that it was in his contract from the previous movie. I do think that when they did the previous movie, the idea was that this Tommy character was going to go nuts.
If I remember, that's the way it ended. Yeah. Part 4, after he kills Jason, they suggest he might be going nuts.
I mean, I can see why you would, but yeah. So I don't know if this guy should get credit for that, but I guess it works. I don't know.
Okay.
So the movie was a $2.2 million budget. It made 21.9, which is, hey, it ain't bad. But all the previous ones have done like 10 million more. So that's where they got cold feet and they said, we're bringing Jason.
And in the 80s, $10 million difference was a lot for these kind of movies.
Yeah.
We put that into context.
The ending of this movie basically got retconned. Once they changed their mind and said, we're bringing Jason back. When I know that part 6 opens with Tommy. I don't know if it's played by the same character, and he's digging up Jason's grave, who's no longer been cremated. And
so that's a little bit of a plot thread that's dangled in this movie. What happened to Jason's body after the Force movie? And the opening suggests he's just buried straight up. And then the sheriff and somebody else have an argument about what really happened. And I forget who's having the argument with the sheriff.
I think it was the mayor.
Yeah, why is there a mayor in this movie? He's in and out. He could have been the guy.
No, I didn't recognize Roy at the end.
It's not a great reveal because the lighting and for as little as you see of the face, how many viewers would know it was the same guy from the EMT unless they had the extra scene about the sheriff talking to Barbara or Deborah? Oh, I forget the survivor girl.
Um, Pam.
Pam, really? Okay.
Pam Roberts,
Pam. Eh,
played by Melanie Kinnaman.
all right.
Now, if you have to have dialogue like that to reveal who it was, then you didn't do a good reveal.
No.
Like they dropped the ball, and I don't know exactly. You got to make some distinguishing mark on the EMT, so that you can make the
Mm-hmm.
same distinguishing mark on this guy who's apparently been taking his steroids because he took a lot of damage. But the EMT.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not very fast, but he's always one step ahead of everybody. And he covers so much ground between different places that other characters have to use vehicles to get from one place to the other. Whether it's an automobile or a little dirt bike. Fake Jason is just everywhere in a very short amount of time.
No, I would have loved a flashback scene where you got fake Jason smoking a cigarette, driving his little car, his little beater, kind of like Swamp Thing driving his little car.
There you go. That would have done something to improve this movie in my mind. It's like I'm surprised they've never done this, but a comic book that fills in the gaps between all the scenes from his point of view. Roy and Pam. This is probably inspired The Office somehow. The American version. Roy and Pam. There's no Jim, just a Tommy. No Michael. Oh, Mike. See, wrong franchise. We got a Jason instead of a Michael.
There you go. So we're gonna rate this thing.
So, did we decide on pots of stew, or do you have something more interesting?
Well, I could probably come up with things that weren't appropriate. We could do pots of stew.
Okay, yeah. How many bowls or pots of stew do you want to do?
We'll do
You want to
bowls.
do
Let's do
bowls
bowls.
of stew?
Yeah,
All right. You going first this time?
I can. Um, Out of 5, I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna give it 1.5.
Whew,
I
so
would give it
generous.
1, except for there's a couple other movies in the franchise that I like worst or like least. So
Okay. Sounds like Manhattan's on that list.
Manhattan's on that list because I saw
Yeah.
that on video while I was in Gatlinburg, and
Mm,
then that was a waste of 2 hours of vacation time. And then I actually went to theaters for Jason Goes to Hell, and that
okay.
was just such a disappointment.
Uh, you probably enjoyed the ending of it, is what I'm guessing.
Yeah, but it then took like what 10 years for the movie to come out. So
Yeah, it did, didn't it? It was like 93 to 2003,
yeah,
something like that.
New Line Cinema or New Line had problems back then. So, anyways,
Yep.
not all of this movie's bad. It's just not what you want it to be. I guess that's the best way of putting it. I mean, I guess you could say that it did give us our wish and that we did want all these people to die, and almost all of them did, actually. But I'm gonna give it 1.5. It's definitely the first major letdown in the Friday the 13th series. I applaud that they tried to do something different. I will say that. Same thing with Halloween 3. They were trying something different, thinking outside the box. So I can appreciate that, but they just didn't do a very good job. So 1.5 bowls of Eddie's soup.
Yeah. So I struggled whether or not I wanted to give this a full token of whatever. And how did I think? Did the movie earn a full token? And I think it does, because I think the cast performances are surprisingly fitting for what this movie is. And for just how weird all the mix of characters are, I think the cast that was picked does it pretty well. If I'm supposed to hate the character, I hate the character. And if I'm supposed to root for them to make it to the end, I think they do. Some of the ones in the middle, whatever 20 people die in this movie, not everybody feels like they earned it. Most of them are just more annoying than whatever. And it makes me think, boy, I'm glad I never spend a whole lot of time in a crazy house. I guess this is a mild crazy house for children with different types of who know what trauma of undetermined nature.
Actually, I think that's the biggest problem with the movie is that Tommy is the only one who really shows that he should be at the crazy house. The rest of them are just juvenile delinquents.
So few of the characters seem like they have any business interacting with each other. And that's a weakness of the film. It becomes very clear you have this big cast just so you can have more kills, even if the kills don't have a lot of meaning for what kind of connection they should have with each other. And that's why, to me, it's an awful movie. And again, why do I give it the one bowl of stew? It is because, despite the source material, I think everybody plays the part pretty well. Even though it sounds like they didn't know what kind of movie they were making, and maybe they hated the whole time of it, but it is what it is, and somehow it's watchable because of the performances. And I guess for as meager as the special effects are, I think they work for how they're supposed to look. So I can't fault them on the visuals. Even though I know it's a really cheap movie, nothing in the movie feels like they cheaped out on what they actually did, other than maybe you were confused about the arms. Yeah.
I'll push back a little bit on the kills. These are pretty uninspired on the whole, mostly because they really couldn't show anything other than his hands.
Yeah, it did hold the movie back quite a bit.
And I thought about that. I wish they had just gone ahead and shown a Jason head of some sort, even if they obscured the shot so you really couldn't tell. Like, do it at an angle where it's a little vague. Get creative with that, because it was just a lot of stabbing. I mean, they tried to get creative with like the hedge clippers and things like that. Nice effect on the what was the flare? That was good. That's creative.
I did have one franchise question about this movie, and it's on the iconic Jason sound effect. I don't know how to describe it, but it's more like, there you go. So I always wondered, is that a sound that Jason makes in universe that any other character close enough can hear it, or is it just something put in over the movie dub?
Oh, it's just put in over the movie dub. Yeah, he doesn't make noise. I mean, he breathes, but
So that in none of the movies does any character react to the chit 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 cha.
no, that's the sound of the chase.
Okay, I was wondering that.
All right, well, that's been Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning from 1985. And
Beginning that didn't go anywhere.
yeah, yeah.
Bye bye. I can't even do it. There you go.